moved to Milwaukee in 1970, changed owners, and has grown steadily. The Brewers did not exactly back into these playoffs. Let's take a look at the best 5 overall records from the past season. Now, you can see that Cincinnati had the best record of them all, with St. Louis third. They are not in the playoffs, and it's created an eternal case of indigestion in both cities. They are not pleased about it, but that's the way the system was cut. You can almost see that the Milwaukee Brewers had the best overall record in the American League Eastern Division, so they did not back in. The Yankees' overall record was 59-48, but I think it can be argued that those teams that had locked playoff spots from the first season, the first half of the season, may have done things a little differently in the second half. Yeah, they had perhaps even a lack of motivation, but in many instances it was a chance to move personnel around and make some decisions. During the regular season, these two teams were 3-3, and certainly there is no team in all of baseball that has more playoff experience than do the New York Yankees. But the individual matchups of these two teams are most interesting. For that now, let's turn to our colleague Howard Cosell, who has not been listening to the commissioner. He, like me, is wearing his top coat.
Exactly right, Keith. It was John Keats who said he could see autumn sitting careless on a granary floor, but this is more like Shakespeare, blow, blow thy winter wind. However, under any circumstances, a matchup comparison, man for man, always interesting, always arguable, always subjective. This is the way I see it. At first base, a big edge for the Brewers, and Cecil Cooper, a fine hitter. For Bob Watson, always a good hitter, a dismal season, hobbled by injuries all year. His alternate, Dave Revering, figures a mediocre. But Cooper, look at that year-long average. Good power, and he can bunt, too, effectively when necessary. So Cooper, the big edge. At second base, a difficult choice. We go with Willie Randolph by a hair because of Willie's ability to get on base and championship experience. Gantner is scrappy, a fine all-purpose ball player. But again, by a hair, Willie Randolph. At shortstop, a big edge for the Brewers. Robin Yount, one of the finest young players in the game. Milburn, a surprise as the replacement for the injured Bucky Dent, but Yount is currently the hottest hitter on the Brewers. Then, at third base, two great veterans, Nettles and Bando. We give the edge to Greg Nettles. He's returned to his great defensive form. He has good power. In the clutch, Buck Rogers has been using Sal. He's a good player, a leader, but Nettles. In left field, the edge goes to Dave Winfield over Ben Ogilvy. Winfield had good figures all year long, lived up to Steinbrenner's expectations. Ogilvy did not have a good season. The edge to Dave. In center field, Jerry Mumphrey, a fine defensive player, a good steady hitter. And Mumphrey, one of Steinbrenner's better deals. But we give the edge to Gorman Thomas. He's a good center fielder, and he has the great power. Over in right field, Reggie Jackson and young Paul Molitor. Jackson having a terrible season, but coming alive in the late going. With his power and clutch ability, we go with Reggie over the youngster. And so, those positions out in the field, the Yankees have an edge. In the designated hitter department, the Yankees again have an edge. Experienced, good hitters. Bobby Mercer, a superb contact hitter, and the Brewers with good players, but not of that class. The catching position, a toss-up. Cerrone gets the defensive edge. He was injured part of the year, did not have a good year at the plate. Simmons's average is deceptive. He is a great hitter, and he came through in the clutch. Defensively, Cerrone. Offensively, Simmons. The starting pitchers, well, we go for starting depth with the Yankees. Guidry, John, Righetti, and Reuschel over Moose Haas, Vukovich, Caldwell, and Lurch. And so, as you add it all up, a slight edge goes in our book to the New York Yankees. The relief pitchers, I give the edge, and this is critical, to Raleigh Fingers over that man, Rich Gossage, because Raleigh has not had a physical problem. Gossage has had one recently. Both again great. Both of them are great, but there's more to the pitching situation than that. And what you must remember is man-for-man comparisons do not reflect the intangibles. In this case, I give the intangibles to the Milwaukee Brewers. Incentive and momentum. But for more on the pitching, one of the greatest pitchers ever to throw a ball, truly emulating Bowie Kuhn without a coat in this frigid weather, Don Drysdale.
Well, thank you very much, Howard. And I think Howard has really kind of alluded to the two starting pitchers and the two aces in the bullpen. But in my opinion, when you look at a short series like this, you've got to look at the middlemen, the short men. And these are the men that come in the early part of the ball game when that starting pitcher gets knocked out of the box. And right there, I've got to believe that the New York Yankees have a little more experience and a little better pitchers in the bullpen as the short men are concerned than the Milwaukee Brewers. I know the Brewers have more, they have more abundance, but I think the Yankees have more experience. And of course, when you look at the relievers, throw them right up in the air. Raleigh Fingers and Goose Gotcha, if it comes down to them, we're going to see a whale of a ball game. It should be a great series. Pitching's going to be a key, and we'll be right back. The New York Yankees, the Milwaukee Brewers, in a moment.
We're ready to play baseball at County Stadium in Milwaukee. And the batting order for the New York Yankees, Willie Randolph will lead it off with a .232 overall average in 1981, followed by Jerry Mumphrey, then Dave Winfield, batting cleanup Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles hitting fifth at third base, Oscar Gamble is the DH tonight. First pitch, Moose Haas delivers to Willie Randolph, and it's ball one. Hitting number 7, Bob Watson, and hitting 8, Larry Milburn. Rick Cerrone hitting in the number 9 spot and doing the catching. Randolph, high bouncer to the third baseman, Sal Bando. Whips it across to Cecil Cooper at first base, and you've got one out. Very quickly, the defense for Milwaukee. Inside, Cooper at first, Jim Gantner at second, Robin Yount at shortstop, the best double play combination in the American League. Bando at third. The outer defense, Ogilvy, Thomas, Molitor is in right field tonight. He has virtually no experience playing in right field. Behind the plate, Ted Simmons. Moose Haas with a record of 11-7, throws the good fastball, curve change slider, not an overpowering pitcher. And he has added a split-fingered fastball that dances up and down some during the course of this season. So the right-hander comes to Jerry Mumphrey, a swing and a miss for strike one.
I think one of the big things that you have to look at Moose Haas, he has really come on the last part of the season, Keith. He's pitched very well, especially his last two starts.
Mumphrey ropes it to left field, going the other way with it, and the first base runner of the ball game.
You also have to remember, Don, that Haas has won 5 of his last 6 decisions against the Yankees. Best pitch, a fastball, but mixes his pitches very well, has the slider, has the curve, and we'll talk later about his now famous claw ball.
Dave Winfield stands in for the New York Yankees, and he has done everything asked of him in 1981. 6'6", out of the University of Minnesota, and a whale of an athlete. With one out, Mumphrey is on first base, and Haas will come from the stretch position. The temperature expected to go into the 40s, and Mumphrey's going. The throw by Simmons. They got him. Not a bad thing to do, though, Don. Test Ted Simmons early.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Test him early. Mumphrey, who had 13 stolen bases on the year. The one thing about Ted Simmons, he's got a very quick release. Gantner is the type of man at second base. He'll put his nose right in the dirt for you, and he's right there to make the tag.
A one-strike count on Winfield with 2 down, and Dave hits it in the air to the right side. Molitor drifts back and settles and makes the catch. So the Yankees have Mumphrey aboard on a single. He's thrown out trying to steal second. Haas gets Winfield. We've played a half an inning at County Stadium in Milwaukee. No score. Leading off for Milwaukee will be Molitor, Yount, and Cooper.
All right, the starting lineup for the Brewers, leading off Paul Molitor, and then Robin Yount, the hot hitter, Cecil Cooper, an excellent hitter, and then Ted Simmons, as I said, deceptive, dangerous, the power man, Gorman Thomas, then Ben Ogilvy, good power, low average, Sal Bando, a great veteran, And Charlie Moore is the designated hitter, a deceptively good hitter, and a little scrapper scrambler, Jim Gantner. That's the Milwaukee Brewers, Keith.
Setting the defense for the New York Yankees. Over at first base, Bob Watson still trying to get over a torn abductor muscle. He starts at first base. Willie Randolph, healthy again. The catalyst of this ball club is at second base. However, with Bucky Dent hurt and out for the season, Larry Milbourne has moved over from second to shortstop, and that has cut down some of the efficiency in the double play for New York. Greg Nettles is at third base, best in pressure games. I think as good as anybody at that position with a glove. 37 years of age, but so mobile. In the outfield, Dave Winfield is in left, had the exceptional year defensively, good as anybody, big guy, 6'6". In center field, Jerry Mumphrey, left ankle was hurt mid-September, back last week. Obviously, he feels all right because he was off and running early. And in right field, it is Mr. October. Reggie Jackson had a very good September, has a very strong arm, and he seems to be at the peak of his concentration now. With Rick Cerrone back of the plate, has thrown out 13 of 46 base runners, but some of the New York pitchers are not terribly efficient at holding people on base. Ron Guidry gets the call tonight. I know Louisiana Lightning's had a pretty good year.
He doesn't often have to have people held on base. Louisiana Lightning, if you want an interesting statistic, has not given up an earned run in the first inning this season.
And the thing that sort of turned it around for him was he went back to throwing that slider hard and getting it in the strike zone.
And what he's got it in the right movement. He's got the right tilt to it, Keith. It's not flat. He's got it breaking hard and breaking down again.
Molitor stands in. Swing and a foul at the plate. Molitor had ankle surgery. He tore 3 ligaments and had some bone chips. He says he lost some speed during the recovery period, also added about 10 pounds, but he is another battler. Count is even at 1.
Well, the point is, Guidry got past the first pitch. Molitor, a notorious first pitch fastball hitter.
It's 1-2. Bob Lemon, the Yankee skipper, in the dugout, and Guidry opens up with some heat, and you sort of need it tonight. He delivered that fastball at 92 miles an hour. That's popped up on the right side and foul ground for Watson. Bobby drifting over. 1 down. Again, to bring you very quickly up to date, Montreal beat Philadelphia and Steve Carlton today, 3-1. Houston beat the Dodgers 1-0, and Oakland beat Kansas City for the second straight day, 2-1. Here's Robin Yount, 273 overall average, but Robbie has been red hot during the last 2 weeks. Drifts it back into the crowd, out of play.
I think if you look at this Milwaukee ball club, and 2 of the key members that you really have to keep off base, and on this ball club here, you've got 2. You've got Molitor and Yount, because after that, you've got a lot of power coming up behind them in the next 4 men in Cooper, Simmons, Thomas, and Ogilvy.
Well, Robin Yount, apart from being the torrid hitter on the club in the late going, against Guidry is the second best hitter on the team. Gorman Thomas at 316, the best.
That's fouled off upstairs into the crowd, out of play.
94 miles an hour. And Robin Yount, you'll recollect, Keith, got the key home run that turned the season around within the last 2 weeks. A 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, in the top of the 9th, to beat Detroit.
Pitch inside. Robin Yount is now, he's quite a remarkable youngster. He came out of the Woodland Hills area of the San Fernando Valley. There's Buck Rogers, the skipper of the Milwaukee Brewers. Yount is in his 9th year in organized baseball, 8 of them in the major leagues, and he's only 26 years of age. That's roll foul down the left side and fielded by Harry Warner, third base coach, with Ron Hansen coaching over at first base for Milwaukee.
Rick Cerrone kind of saying something down to Harry Warner, saying throw it back out to the pitcher. But I'll tell you, you don't want to throw it back out to the pitcher. If you can, throw it out, but you can't do that anymore.
Foul straight back.
Just takes that little thing right there. First of all, the pitcher gets a good feel of a baseball, and all of a sudden you hit a little foul ball down, and the third base coach or possibly the first base coach picks the ball up. Could be a dirt spot on it or something, and that's all the pitcher's looking for, an edge.
Sails that one away, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Yount.
Guidry has come up with another pitch this year that he's throwing a little more, and that's a change, and that's got to help him a lot throughout his career.
It's been very effective.
That one's low, and so Ronnie has gone full to Robin Yount at 3-2.
I tell you, they label Yount a low ball hitter, but when he's hitting, like most hitters, he'll hit anything, and he'll hit with power.
Yount is Milwaukee's first base runner.
That pitch was close, and Guidry wasn't too happy with the call. Ronnie's throwing a few pitches right now a little bit harder than what he really wants to. That pitch low, right at the knees. Well, it's a very close call, and actually Cerrone might have taken that pitch away from him the way that he actually went in to catch the ball. He had the glove going down instead of coming up.
Here is Cecil Cooper, the Milwaukee first baseman, .320 overall average. And Guidry gets a strike on him. Cecil feels that he profited from the strike, that it helped him get his act together.
That's exactly so. He had a terrible first half and became Cecil Cooper again with a stunning second half.
That's foul.
Felt he got into bad habits in the first half, and while most ball players suffered individually from the strike, particularly maybe the Cleveland Indians in the American League, because so many of them came back out of shape, that wasn't the case, as Keith has noted, with Cecil. Cooper
in the hole, 0-2 against Guidry, and they hold Yount close.
One thing about Cooper, not only does he have power, but he can use the whole ballpark.
Hits it well to deep center. Mumphrey going back, hauls it down. Gave it a ride, 2 down. When his bat is alive, the ball just leaps off of him.
I'll tell you, he tormented Catfish Hunter even when the Catfish was at his greatest, Keith, with Oakland.
Ted Simmons, .216 average. That's a little deceptive. The man goes at first. The throw to second goes into left field. And Robin Yount is on the corner.
Robin made the only play that he could make. Actually, he just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar a little bit, because he's going to take off. Guidry, not a real good move over there, but Yount was going all the way. Now you see that he could not get the ball out of the glove, and then when he gets the ball out of the glove, it's Randolph trying to come down with a tag actually before he catches the ball. So there lies the problem with Watson trying to get the ball out of the glove.
Goes down as a stolen base for Robin Yount. Ted Simmons has been around baseball for some exceptional seasons. He's been an exceptional athlete and an exceptional man. But you realize that this is his first postseason action.
That's right. He talks about it. He said he thought he was destined to be another Ernie Banks in that regard.
That's foul.
And while his batting average for the year was only .216, this established career .300 hitter was tremendous down the stretch. In fact, he led the team in game-winning hits.
Guidry the edge at 2 strikes. Got him. Oh, there was that hard slider. It just popped in there. And so Milwaukee is turned away as they strand Robin Yount at second base. After 1, no score. Back with more baseball after this word from our local stations. Third baseman Sal Bando is the veteran on this Milwaukee ball club. 5 championship series, 3 World Series. Earlier today, Howard talked with him.
Sal, I'm not going to ask you to compare your great Oakland team of the decade of the 70s with the Brewers of the young 80s. But I'd like you to compare the two teams in terms of attitude.
I think the attitude of the Oakland A's during their winning years was a very confident one because they had experienced success both in the playoffs and the World Series. The Brewers, on the other hand, are a confident team, but in a different way. They're very excited about being here, very honored, but yet they're not sure what they can do because we haven't had to do anything before. Winning the last 3 weeks was important to us, but still it isn't the experience of winning in the playoffs.
All right, a man who had gained all of that playoff experience, Sal Bando, and there's a fellow right there that was on that same bunch with him, Reggie Jackson, who just jumped on the first pitch and ripped it to right for a base hit. So the Yankees have the leadoff man aboard here in the top of the second.
He has the capacity to be Mr. October all over again. And he's more settled mentally than I've seen him during the entire year. He knows where he's at. He's a highly intelligent man, fine mentality, and he's through quarreling with George Steinbrenner, for the moment, at least.
Greg Nettles comes up now. Greg on the year, 244. That's what he hit in 1980. But he can be a miracle man out there with the glove. Moose Haas warming up a little bit now. Jacks his fastball up to 87 miles an hour. And got a strike on Nettles. Oscar Gamble is waiting on deck, the designated hitter. That ball is fouled in the crowd. The umpires, we haven't given them to you. Larry McCoy is behind the plate. Dale Ford at first. Ken Kaiser at second. Dave Phillips at third. Down the left field line, Al Clark. Right field line, Mike Riley.
Keith, you talked about the split finger fastball that Moose Haas has, and he started throwing that consistently against the Detroit Tigers in his last two starts. He had a little problem in trying to keep the deception there because Alex Grammas caught him with it a few times.
Could be two. There's one. So the combination that led the American League in double plays this season, Robin Yount, Jim Gantner over to Cecil Cooper.
Jackson went in hard. That ball was hit hard to Yount. He had to make sure he got it, number one. There's what I talked about Gantner. He stayed right in there. Jackson went in hard. You think he isn't coming in hard? Jackson coming in real hard, but Gantner able to get the ball away, and this velocity of the ball going to Yount was the one that turned it over.
Well, he's a scrapper, Gantner. He's a scrambler. Very good. Tough to give Randolph the edge, but on experience and ability to get on base, I did, if you'll remember. I'm surprised to see Gamble in the lineup, Keith.
He's a gamer.
Well, he's 0 for 27. He's in a terrible slump. Bobby Mercer, one of the best contact hitters in baseball, and openly bitter over his treatment this year, in the sense of seeing very sparse action as you looked at a called ball thrown into the dirt.
Go back to that play by Reggie Jackson, the second base, when he came in hard. In case you don't know it, he worked out as a defensive back under Frank Cush at Arizona State. So he's not easy when he's coming down that baseline. Swinging, foul tip held by the catcher. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gamble. Tomorrow, the Yankees and the Brewers will go at it at 3 Eastern Time, 2 Central, and 12 out on the West Coast in game number 2 in the American League Eastern Division playoffs. And that pitch is low and outside. Juanita Gamble is in the crowd tonight. Did we not see her sing the national anthem a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Loop to left, base hit. So the man's in the lineup, and he delivers one to left. But Brewers have wiped out the base runners with the double play.
I'm also surprised to see this man in the lineup. He didn't expect to be. Revering, his alternate, has had a sore back on and off, but Revering has a very good batting average against Moose Haas, which most of the Yankees do not. But Bob's been plagued all this year, a career 300 hitter. Knowing Lim, the Yankee manager, he wanted to go with experience, with the past record.
I think one of the big things when you get in these playoffs, whatever it might be, and whatever part of the ladder that they're going to be, they get you up a little bit.
Whoa, there's a shot. Gantner flags at it, can't get it. Gamble turns second, holds on as Gorman Thomas comes in a hurry with it. And Thomas has a strong arm in center field.
When Bob Watson, as you look at him, is healthy, he will hit anybody. Righty, lefty. Spent a career doing it.
They play on real grass here in Milwaukee. So at least this is one series they're going to play on good old Mother Earth in the entirety.
Oh, this is really a great playing field. A field in perfect shape. More on that in a moment as we watch Larry Milburn, who's been such a surprise, replacing Bucky Dent, injured.
Larry hitting .313, and Haas is high to it.
Keith, the groundkeeper here, is Harry Gill. He is one of the best in American sport. The way he got this field in shape after the packed Vites game a week ago Sunday was remarkable.
There's a ball hit sharply to right. Molitor comes, makes the catch. So Paul Molitor playing right field tonight for Milwaukee. Almost no experience, but he made that one look easy. After 1.5, no score. Ron Guidry at 47 degrees has changed shirts, shortened the sleeves. Earlier, Howard talked with his catcher, Rick Cerrone.
Guidry works for you in the opening game against the Brewers. Describe the difference in Guidry this year as against a year ago.
Well, Howard, the biggest difference, I think, is that he's putting away hitters with 2 strikes. He's going back to being an overpowering pitcher. He's not pacing himself at all. He doesn't worry about complete games. That really doesn't faze him. The biggest thing we got him to do now is to put hitters away with 2 strikes. And I think he's had 10 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts, 8 strikeouts the second half. He's really doing a great job. And if you had to point the finger at one thing, you'd say it was his slider. His slider has been his out pitch, his strikeout pitch, and it's back to where it was in '78.
He's going to face the muscle men in the Milwaukee order now. Gorman Thomas, Ben Ogilvy, Sal Bando. Thomas with 21 home runs, Ogilvy with 14. The pitch is up high, and for the living life of me, I can't understand why an old boy from Louisiana has gone out there at 47 degrees in short sleeves.
It's funny what that adrenaline can do.
Yeah, he got warmed up in that first inning. A little bit tight with it. You know, 93-mile-an-hour fastball in around your belt buckle does tend to reduce your waistline.
You know, Keith, what you have to really give credit to Gorman Thomas on, and that is really correcting a flaw. When he first came to the major leagues, he was pretty much of an out man on a breaking pitch, on a curveball. And he has really worked on that.
Skins that one back, ricocheted off of Cerrone's mask.
And right about now, he has been hitting about 50-50 fastballs and curveballs for home runs.
The very developed ability you just talked about causes him to say that it turned his career around. There's Bobby Mercer. Finds it hard to believe he's on the bench.
Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Gorman Thomas. We have no score, and Milwaukee at bat in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Boy, there was something on that sizzler. Thomas was late on it.
Well, think of what Rick Cerrone told me. He's back to getting them out with 2 strikes. And the best proof is in the second half of the season, he averaged 9.2 strikeouts per game. More than that, he had 64 strikeouts in the second half, second only to Dave Righetti, whom we'll be seeing in the 3rd game of this series. A remarkable rookie.
Ben Ogilvy on the outside corner. Ben led the Brewers with 72 runs batted in, and he's another fellow. When his bat is alive, the ball comes out of there like a rocket. Missed that breaking pitch, and he's in the hole at 2 strikes.
As Guidry's second half earned run average, it speaks for itself.
And Tommy John, of course, works tomorrow. That's the starting pitching depth of the Yankees.
Just missed.
I think one of the key things that Rick Cerone said about putting the hitters away, and I think that's the greatest asset that any pitcher can do, is go out there. There's no need to show them everything that you can possibly throw them.
Teammate of yours could do that.
That's exactly right, Sandy Koufax. But the thing is, there's Sal Bando in the on-deck circle. But if you can get him out with one pitch, why not do it? 2 pitches, fine. 3 pitches, fine. Go get him and get him out of the way.
Well, he's blown away the 2 home run hitters of Milwaukee, striking out Thomas and Ogilvy.
That pitch was 92 miles per hour. Ogilvy is hitting 111 against Ron Guidry.
That swing right there might tell you why. That was not his A swing.
Sal Bando.
It was half-baked and defensive. That's what you mean.
Up high. Sal listed on the Milwaukee roster as a player coach. Bullet to left, down the line, to the corner. Winfield off the wall, sticks on the wall. Bando, double.
Well, there's the old pro. You throw him up in the strike zone, that fastball up right where he had it. And he really rammy-cackled that thing down in the corner. I thought for a moment that Winfield might be able to go over and get it. That's what you've got to be alert on here at County Stadium. It can get hung up underneath that mat down there.
The great thing about Bando is he's as fine a man as he has been an athlete.
I like the way you talk, Drysdale. He ramble-cackled it. By George, I haven't heard that since '06. Charlie Moore, the designated hitter.
He'll not play anymore, not after this year, but he's got a job with the Brewers. In the front office, he looks forward to it.
Charlie, a catcher, swings feebly and misses for strike 1.
Yeah, but Keith, this is a pretty good hitter.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good percentage hitter, not to be overlooked. This is a very fine Milwaukee team. They didn't get there without the talent.
There's a point I wanted to make at the very beginning tonight. They didn't back in by any means.
That's true. Keith, you look at those guys and talk to them prior to the game tonight. They're all on cloud 9. They are keyed, and it's going to take them a time to go through the lineup and face Ron Guidry before they just kind of settle back down into their game plan a little bit. We've seen some wild swinging up here so far. They'll get it all together. But now when you're Guidry, you've got to realize that, and you might not be quite as fine as you want to be.
That's it down the left field line. Bando turns third, coming home. Brewers lead 1-0. Moore going to second. He's out trying to stretch it. Good throw from Winfield. Cuts Moore down, trying to reach second base, but cantering home. From second base to Sal Bando.
I told you about Moore. Good percentage hitter. Good contact hitter.
You don't challenge Mr. Winfield's arms too many times. And there's a good call. Kaiser right on top of it.
And so after 2, the Brewers lead it 1-0. The stadium is not filled by any measure. I don't know exactly what. I can't read it for that matter. I guess probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000. The dimensions of it are reflected here. It's relatively short, straight down the line on left and right, 315. Big in the middle, though, at 402, and the alleys are 362. For the Yankees, the catcher, Rick Cerone. Then the top of the order, Willie Randolph and Jerry Mumphrey. It's been one of those seasons I think everybody in baseball would like to forget, but in particular Rick. He broke his right thumb back in April, but still fusses over his lack of hitting. He had only 9 runs batted in the second part of the season. That's a bouncer over the mound. Oh, it goes right through Gantner.
He was looking for a bounce that wasn't there.
He actually played it right into that short hop.
That'll be an error.
Just did miss it over his head. Now Gantner, you see him charging, still coming on, gets himself in that in-between hop, tries to back up to play it, and then just cannot find the handle right through the wickets.
The smallness of the crowd that you've mentioned indicates that this was one of the cities ravaged in a baseball sense by the strike. In June alone, they had 7 sold-out houses. The place holds between 56 and 57,000 people. 7 sold-out houses that were canceled.
Cerrone goes, and the pitch is swung on and fouled away for a strike.
Boy, just the way that Bob Lemon has started out already, it appears that he's going to put the men that can steal into motion, and he's going to put the hit and run into motion. Just kind of give you a little idea. We might take a look at the movement as Haas is from his stretch position and see how long it might take him to get rid of the ball.
Bunt is foul. Well, Bob Lemon's been around, and you know, he knows that Milwaukee's jittery.
Oh, sure.
He wants to put a little pressure on him early.
Well, you get the air. Now you've got Randolph up. If he can do anything on a hit and run, look what you got coming up after that when you start going from Mumphrey to Winfield to Jackson to Nettles and Gamble and Watson.
Yeah, but
that's not too shabby.
You guys talk about jittery, and Milwaukee's ahead 1-0 against one of the super pitchers of baseball.
You're right. That's fouled away.
You know, they're both keyed up. The Yankees have got a lot on the back of their mind, too. It's been written and talked about so much. Can they turn it back on again? Can any of the first half winners turn it back on again? And right there, you're looking at a man that Reggie Jackson, who can get it going at this time of year. And I think they've got a lot of things on the back of their mind where they're out to try and prove something, too. Yes, we can turn it back on.
Nipped his bat. Catcher held it. Ted Simmons. And Randolph is gone. 1 out.
And they didn't even advance the runner. Beautiful pitch.
It is right there, coming back, and just did get a piece of it, but Simmons holds on. That's strike 3 if he doesn't tip it.
Little signs like that, Don, as you well know. You don't advance a runner. They add up during a ball game.
They put him in motion and couldn't put the ball in play.
Jerry Mumphrey had a single his first time.
You'll remember they sent Jerry down because they don't believe in Simmons throwing arm. But Jerry himself was out for a number of weeks with a bad foot. It was in a cast, and Jerry hasn't recaptured his old speed. Not yet, anyway. There's Buck Rogers under fire just 2.5 weeks ago. Every kind of rumor that he'd be fired didn't happen. Team rallied to him and for him.
You see Simmons that time not even giving a sign. He wanted Haas to go on over there to first base one more time without dropping down and maybe giving him a little flick. He just nodded his head, had a different stance, went completely behind the plate.
He asked for the hard one, and he got it right where he wanted it. 88 miles an hour for a strike. There is a horse.
The handlebars mustache.
You think he didn't have a year?
Name is Raleigh Fingers.
28 out of the 35 saves on that stat.
Runner goes over the mound, bounce toward the second baseman Gentner. Jimmy has to whip it in a hurry and gets him at first. So you've got now Cerrone down at second base with 2 out. That Gentner was over on the grass in front of the shortstop.
Well, they had Cerrone going on that particular play, too. Lemon had the hit and run on them.
That's right.
Except Yount was not covering, and Gantner, who was covering on the play, already had the start on the ball. It was just to the shortstop side of the bag. Gantner says, I'm going to take charge. I'm here, and did so. There's a little tip-off on what Lemon might be thinking on this club.
And Mumphrey had to swing at a ball that he otherwise would not have swung at.
That's
it
right.
was a ball, not a good ball to hit.
You got to protect the runner.
On Friday, you'll see the Yankees in Milwaukee from Yankee Stadium, or Kansas City versus Oakland. Check your local listing for the game in your area. The time to see reflected there. Winfield hits it deep to center. Gorman Thomas to the warning track at 400 feet makes the catch. Oh, some thunder, but no lightning from the Yankees. And after 2.5, the score remains 1-0 Milwaukee.
The Yankees can hit.
Second baseman Jim Gantner will lead it off for the Brewers, then back to the top of the order for Molitor and Yount. Gantner in his first full season as the Brewers starter at second base when they moved Paul Molitor to the outfield in order to get Gantner on the field and in daily action. And he has certainly proven that judgment to be correct.
Don, did you see Gorman Thomas immediately judge that drive by Winfield, turn and run, know exactly when to turn around? That's why he's in center field and Molitor's in right.
That's exactly why they flip-flopped him. They had Thomas in right field, but they said no, center field is his spot.
Ball 1. One and one.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, this man right here at home plate will grow on you, Jimmy Gantner. I really like him.
2-1.
He's the type of player, like I said before, he'll stick his nose in the dirt. He'll get his uniform dirty for you. He'll knock down a ground ball or so.
But you've got to be fair, Don. A factor in moving Molitor to right was the injury to Heisen.
That's punched down the left field line. Going to drop for a base hit. Gantner has good speed. Ball rolling slowly on the grass. He's in at second base with a double to lead the bottom of the third.
And I was just about to say that he hangs in there on left-handers. They don't scare him at all. He's not moving anywhere. He just takes that low fastball down and away and drops it down the left field line. And there was no question about him going to second base because Ron Hansen had him at second base from the time he left home plate.
Suddenly, after striking out 3 men in a row, Guidry is having trouble. They're taking liberties with him. Bando, a line shot double. Charlie Moore, a line shot single. Out trying for a double. And now Gant. All in the same area, down the left field foul.
Harry Warner talking to Molitor as ball was coming to the plate. Nettles is tied at third, slides up the handle, pulls it away.
Yankees looking for the bunt. You see Nettles in at third, Watson in at first. You've got a man who can bounce off of that mound, a good fielding pitcher in Guidry. You've also got a man that handles a bat pretty well when it comes to bunting in Paul Molitor.
1 strike, lays up, go. It's just dead, and they don't get him at first. There was no air in that balloon when he put it down.
Well, here's where Nettles admitted himself he was going to cheat a little bit. On an ordinary play, that ball isn't out there 2 feet. Cerrone is thinking third base. Nettles is not there. He's pointing to first base. He dropped it one time, picked it up. There's no limp in Paul Molitor, believe me.
So the Brewers have runners at the corners now. Molitor at first and Gantner over at third.
And it's an error on Cerrone for dropping the ball.
He lost the ball. He lost his composure at the same time.
A strike to Robin Yount. Brewers lead it 1-0 and looking for more. That'll get one home from third. Winfield in left field settles. The tag at third, and here comes Gantner. The throw goes into second base, and the Brewers lead it 2-0 on the sacrifice fly to left by Yount. 1 out.
Molitor was very alert. He got down there about a third of the way. He saw Winfield was going to camp under it real easy. He got back to the bag in a hurry because if Winfield thinks twice about coming to the plate and he comes to the plate, Molitor is at second base.
case you're interested in the scoring on Molitor, it is a sacrifice and an error on the catcher, Cerrone. That ball is hit to the right side. It's going to sink in front of the right fielder, Reggie Jackson. And so the Brewers now are jumping on Ron Guidry here in the bottom of the third inning.
And interestingly, the southpaws are hitting the southpaws. Molitor at second. I mentioned the Heisel injury as a factor in moving him to right. There was the other factor of the trade of Sisto Lascano.
Cecil Cooper now at first with Molitor at second, and here's Ted Simmons. Play at second. Randolph sneaking in behind him. Clyde King getting on the phone, and we'll get some stirring around in the New York bullpen. Oh, right-hander, one of the great teachers in the game. Sharp shot. Nettles flags it. You don't think he isn't a great third baseman defensively?
When I think of the way they talked about a decline in his reflexes, losing a step, he is playing as well as he's played in the last 3 or 4 years. Just brilliantly. Look at that.
If he doesn't have that play patented better than anybody I've ever seen, I don't know who does. That ball hit hard and hooking away from him. And that ball is called fair by the third base umpire, Dave Phillips. He doesn't catch that ball. Milwaukee increases their lead. A super play by Nettles.
Your batter now is Gorman Thomas, who struck out swinging first time.
And I mean, they are hitting Guidry.
2 out. Brewers have another run across. The lead 2-0. Guidry's high and outside to Thomas. Time for Cerrone to talk to his pitcher. And George Frazier gets up in the bullpen. I saw him one time this summer.
I saw him with you. And
Herbeck hit a home run over him.
This is exactly what I talked about. It's going to be a question of those early men, the middle men. Can you get at them? Can you get at them quick enough to stay away from the short men in the bullpen, the Fingers and the Gossages?
Count to Thomas. 2 out, 2 on. And it misses. Ball 2. He's still in the 90-mile range with his fastball.
His location has just been a little inconsistent. That's been the big thing. And they've also hit a couple of pretty good pitches. Gantner's double to lead off the inning. That wasn't that bad a pitch.
Bites the inside corner as it passes through. It's 2-1. Gorman's the kind of guy, though, you might get him 2 or 3 times, 3 times in a row, make him look bad, and then wham, like a fallen wall on you. Got a little bug trouble at home plate.
You got Guidry throwing 90 miles an hour. You don't want bug trouble.
No, you don't. Sharp shot. Shortstop Milburn goes the short way to get the man Cooper coming down from first base. So the Brewers can't get the big inning, but they do add 1 more run, and they lead it 2-0 after 3. Leads it off, has 1 of the 4 New York hits. Before the game, Howard talked with him.
You seem so much more settled now after a year of terrible strife between you and the owner, George Steinbrenner. The strike situation where you were steadfast in support of Marvin Miller and the player position. But now, having come from 199 to 237, paltry figures for you, but yet indicative of a great comeback in the late going, you seem ready to assume the role of Mr. October all over again. Do you feel it?
Howard, I feel good. I'm aware mentally what the task is in front of me. I'm aware that, as I said, we're playing a good ball club with good pitching that has given some of our players problems, even though their ERA isn't that good against the rest of the league. I'm aware that our offensive production has been down. I'm aware that our club has struggled offensively throughout the second half, and even our pitching performances haven't been as good as they could have been or should have been. Whether I'm going to establish the role or step to the forefront, I'm certainly aware of what I have to do and aware of what is expected of me. And I feel that I'm mentally prepared, physically prepared, and have swung the bat well enough over the second half that I'm capable of doing it.
Moose Haas is about to take the bat out of his hand up here now at 3 balls and no strikes, but he gets the cripple over to make it 3-1.
Well, maybe Reggie's prepared for it. There was a day in 1980 when Moose Haas struck Jackson out 4 times in 1 game.
It was a day he struck out 14 Yankees. You watched it.
That's right. There was also a day when Reggie thought Moose had thrown at him. Moose hadn't, in fact. Reggie got up on fire. Moose challenged him, threw a fast one, and Reggie hit a towering home run. It's the kind of player he is.
For the second successive inning, the Yankees have the leadoff man aboard. I won't use that word anymore tonight. Greg Nettles up there now. Hit into a double play last time. It was a bang-bang 6-4-3 twin killing. This time he pops it up out into short center field. Gorman Thomas moves in, and you got 1 out. Now it is Oscar Gamble coming on with a single in his first trip, and these are the scores of the games played earlier. Great ball game in Houston, Los Angeles. Houston leads that series 2-0. Montreal beating Philadelphia Steve Carlton today to lead that series 1-0. And Oakland took its second straight from Kansas City 2-1.
I think they need to move Earl Campbell into baseball. To score in the Astrodome, sometimes I feel you can spend 2 months and not see a run.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that Houston-Philadelphia playoff series last year was one of the great baseball struggles I think I've ever seen.
For sustained drama, day in and day out.
Truly was. A strike to Gamble. Big right-hander Haas is out of the Baltimore area, lives in Hempstead, which is not too far from Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. Jackson edging off first. Cooper drops back with the left-hander up at the plate. And the count is 1-1.
Gamble, a notorious low ball hitter.
Low fastball hitter. Hits that high in the air to deep right center. To the wall they go looking. It's gone.
He got it.
And I believe that's exactly what he got. He got a low fastball. And just like that, with 1 swing of the bat, and you're tied at 2.
Lemon knew what he was doing. Gamble 0-27. He put Oscar in.
Look at the location. Right there. Low fastball from the middle of the plate, trying to work out, but didn't work out enough.
Well beyond the fence. So we are even at 2. And here's Bob Watson. Fouled away.
There he is, and his wife Juanita, whom you saw earlier, couldn't be happier.
Watson had a single his first time tonight, and he looks outside. Yesterday in batting practice, neither one of the first basemen, Revering nor Watson, hit with the regulars. They batted with the extra men. Neither one of them knew who'd get the call today. Turned out to be Bobby. Up the middle it goes. He's 2 for 2.
I tell you, for the moment, it's the kind of magic Lemon had when he took over from Martin under urgent circumstances and low-keyed it right to a pennant in the World Championship.
And time to talk now with Moose Haas.
Well, the big thing Bob Rogers wants to do right here, just kind of settle him down a little bit and just forget about that home run if he possibly can. He just got out of his location as far as the fastball was to Watson. He got a fastball up over the plate.
Time for a moment. Time for me to tell you, as I take a deep breath, this telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Got some stirring around in the Milwaukee bullpen now. McClure gets up, starts to throw. With Watson at first base and 1 out and 2 runs in, Larry Milburn hits it over the mound. Robin Yount comes in, got to go to first with it. Oh, didn't get it. Had trouble getting a handle on it. Couldn't get out of his glove in time. And Milburn with his speed beat it out.
And I believe right there, if Robin had to do this all over again, he would not even go to first base because he's got to play at second base.
Absolutely.
Watson does not run that well. Now he's trying to find the handle. You can see if he goes to second base, just flips it back over to Gantner. They've got the force, and all that little juggle did was mean Milburn safe at first.
And your batter is Rick Cerone. Yankees now have 7 base hits in the ball game. A little low.
One thing you've got in these two ball clubs, you've got 2 heavyweights going at one another in that power department. They can put some points on the board.
Burns it in. 1-1. He threw that fastball to Gamble, though, right in Oscar's wheelhouse, didn't he?
He sure did.
Right where, like a pumpkin. Two and 1 pitch coming to Cerone. Oh, that's pulled foul.
There's where you can be in trouble at County Stadium in Milwaukee because it's only 315 down both lines. Basically, it's a good pitcher's park if you pitch to the power alleys and to straightaway center field. Straightaway left and right, it's 362. It's 392 to the power alleys and 402 straightaway center. But down the line, it's reachable from, of course, the right-handers and the left-handers. You get the right-handers hitting them down the right field line, too.
2 runs in, 1 out, 2 aboard for the Yankees. And the pitch is tight. That'll make it 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cool, crisp, clear night in Milwaukee. Beautiful day today. Runners going, pitch is shot toward the corner. Fair ball in the corner. And coming around is the lead runner for the Yankees, Bob Watson, running well. And he scores from second base.
And also Larry Milburn came all around from first, Keith, because Ogilvie threw to the wrong base. He missed the cutoff man. And both runners were going on the pitch. Here's another gamble by Bob Lemon. You got Watson, not all the speed in the world. He's going from second to third. A strikeout, it's a double play. And here comes Rogers. That's going to be all. But here's Ogilvie. He misses the cutoff man, Yount, the shortstop. Milburn just keeps right on coming. As soon as Altobelli, the third base coach, sees where the throw goes, he just keeps waving Milburn on around. And all of a sudden, the Yankees got a 2-run lead, 4-2. And that's all for Haas.
Yep. The magic of Moose Haas against the Yankees is ended for at least tonight.
Time is out. We'll be back. is gone after 3 1/3, being rattled around for 8 base hits and 4 runs, and Dwight Bernard is coming on now. Bernard found out on Sunday he was being put on the roster, replacing Reggie Cleveland, who'd been a regular pitcher for him. Cleveland with some tendonitis. And Bernard now comes over after having been in Vancouver. Also was acquired by from the New York Mets in 1979 in the exchange for Mark Bombach. So he has in fact, no playoff experience. And on Saturday, this is what we have for him. 10th ranked Oklahoma and 3rd ranked Texas in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. And it could be another war. Always is.
There's Moose Haas sitting in the middle there. Didn't leave. Very disappointed, understandably. But this is exactly this situation what Don Drysdale talked about as you look at Dwight Bernard. A man dropped by the New York Mets, who weren't disposed to drop anybody they really believed in, called up under exigent circumstances, and they don't have, on the surface at least, the middle relief men that the Yankees did.
He was 3 5 at Vancouver and had 11 saves for the Capellanos.
And he's really hasn't worked that much, Keith and Howard, for Milwaukee, because he's only been in 6 games. He's worked a total of 5 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs. He's walked 6 in those 5 innings.
Pitch to Willie Randolph is outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Willie. And you've got Cerrone at second base as his double delivered Watson and Milburn to break the tie.
I think both of these clubs work on the same theory. Go hard and hold them. Give us a chance to get to our short men, Gossage and Fingers, and also Ron Davis.
The shortstop yanked, and Willie's out. 2 down.
Well, talking to manager Buck Rogers today, I said, what's the earliest that you would bring Raleigh into tonight's game, the opening game? He said 7th inning, not before. Can't use him up for a best-of-5 series in the opening game.
He said he thinks they tried to remember. He said, I think the earliest I brought him out with 2 outs in the 6th. But now you do that, and you turn around all the times he's gone out there this year from a night game to day game tomorrow, you're asking for trouble.
Mumphrey hits it high in the air in left center field. Gorman Thomas ranging over it, makes the catch. So Bernard comes in and gets the 2 outs. But the Yankees count 4 times at the bottom of the 4th and lead it 4-2. Come to the plate now for Milwaukee. Ogilvie, Bando, and Moore to face Ron Guidry, who has a 2-run cushion. That is a little chalet out there in center field, and down below is a great big mug, and when somebody hits a home run, that fella goes sliding down that ramp and winds up in the mug.
Used to be a wigwam out there when the Braves were here.
That's right.
And the way Henry Aaron used to hit Drysdale, that little Indian came out time and again.
Chief Nakahoma.
Wonder what that fellow's going to tell his grandchildren he did for a living.
That's Bernie Brewer out there.
Guidry now with a ball and a strike count on Ogilvie. Bando's on deck, Moore to follow, and then Gantner would be the 4th man. That's foul. Nice play, Ronnie. Ron Henson.
Not a shabby shortstop. That left side of the Baltimore infield. Brooksy Boy, Robinson, and Ron Hansen. Couldn't get a ball through there.
High drifting out of play to the right side. Ogilvie struck out swinging first time. A couple of notes today. Things that are going on. Davey Concepcion has signed a 5-year guaranteed contract. Dick Wagner, the chief executive officer of the Cincinnati Reds, says he thinks it's the largest compensation package ever paid to a shortstop in Major League Baseball. Baltimore Orioles today signed Dennis Martinez a 5-year deal, and I understand Bobby Cox is going up to Toronto, and Bobby Maddock goes to the front office.
A lot of baseball news.
Bobby, of course, manager of the Atlanta Braves. Swing and a miss, and Guidry blows down Ogilvy for the second time tonight with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, here's the great veteran coming up who started Milwaukee to its initial one-run lead with a line shot into the left field corner for a double. Sal Bando.
You know, it's amazing when you look at a short series like this how big two plays might end up being, because very well this ball game could be tied at 2-2 except two Milwaukee errors of omission.
Yeah, but that's baseball.
That's true. But I say that's
Houston lost the pennant because Nolan Ryan fluffed an easy double play ball on Bob Boone. You remember. But look at the way Ryan's come back.
Oh,
that's a pro.
1 ball, 1 strike count to Bando. He almost pulled a trigger and didn't, and it cost him. It's 1-2.
That's Sal's son and his lady, his wife. Rick Cerrone looking for a break from the first base umpire. Interestingly, Jim Palmer said in the Oakland-Kansas City game today. Well, wait a minute.
Got him.
He said, Don, that with more and more American League umpires wearing the protective jacket under the coat, it's becoming more and more of a low ball league, like the National League.
Well, that's exactly right. What they've done, they've taken away that they kind of leave it at their own discretion right now. They take away that big balloon, that pillow out in front, to where they can get down and get a good look at it and not work over the catcher's head. They can work on each side the way that the National League does.
You never wanted them to wear anything. Larry Berra.
He's the only man I know who mixes diet gum with his chewing tobacco.
How'd you find that out?
I watched him do it. Guidry really bending things now. That was a very feeble swing by Charlie Moore.
That was that good changeup, too.
Yep. Charlie gets a hold of that one, though, and jerks it in the hole to left field for his second base hit of the night. Correct myself. I'm going back, telling you how old I am. I'm going back to the Vancouver Capellanos a while ago. They're all Canadians now. Nettles could have had that one. He just didn't seem to.
The ball came up on him a little bit. The ball was, I think, just kind of fooled him a little bit. It was hit a little bit harder than what Greg caught, but you're not going to see him let that ball go by too many times, and he does draw the base hit, the 5th of the game for Milwaukee.
And Gentner swings and misses.
Now watch this little scrapper, as Don indicated earlier. When he had hit a double off Guidry. Watch him stay in there. Whether he gets a hit or not, he'll stay in there and scrap with Guidry.
Well, he's behind now. 2 strikes. A cool night like this, Guidry holding his speed. That's hit sharply to the second baseman Randolph. Gets a nice hop on it and flips it over to Watson to retire the side. So Milwaukee strands Charlie Moore. And we played 4 innings now at County Stadium in Milwaukee. And the New York Yankees are leading the Milwaukee Brewers by a score of 4-2. One of the more interesting personalities in the last few years of baseball has been the big guy Dave Winfield. Before the ball game today, Howard talked to him.
The club played so badly the second half. Can they revive on a moment's notice?
I think if it were a necessity to win the second half, I think they would have just reached back a little bit further, dug a little deeper, and gotten a little bit better results than we did the second half. But now that the season's over, the playoffs pose a different problem and a new experience, and we'll respond. This team will respond.
How do you know?
They're a veteran team. They have the experience. They've been through these situations before. And if we don't win, there may be a completely new look on the team. They want to win.
Pre-game comments of Dave Winfield talking to Howard Cosell.
And of course, Keith, when he said if we don't win, there may be a completely new look on the team. Highly publicized. A new pitcher coming in for the Brewers.
Bob McClure, Howard.
Yep. Well, anyway, the highly publicized option plans of owner George Steinbrenner. If they don't win, tear apart the team. If they do win, not just stand still quite, but in that vein.
Here's another pitcher who has had rotator cuff problems. And while he warms up, a scoring summary, you can see Milwaukee jump to the lead on a Bando double and a Moore single. In the third inning, Gantner double. Molitor followed with a sacrifice. Yount delivered him with a sacrifice fly. And that gave Milwaukee its 2-0 lead. However, in the fourth inning, Reggie Jackson walked. Gamble then hit a 2-run home run out of here at about 385 feet. Watson singled, Milburn singled, Cerrone hit a 2-run double. New York took the lead 4-2. Moose Haas left the ball game. Bernard replaced him, got the side out, and now it is Bob McClure, who's been inactive virtually all this season because of the rotator cuff problems. He did throw an inning on Sunday against Detroit. It'll be interesting to see how well he can do. But Don Drysdale said right at the very outset tonight, if there is a primary weakness in this Milwaukee ball club, it's right here, the middlemen.
Well, you know, McClure, he was added to the active roster on the 1st of September, and he had been on the disabled list prior to that, October 31st, so that means that he could be a roster replacement, and has been just that as he replaced Buster Keaton.
It'll be Winfield, Jackson, Nettles for New York.
Well, he's been through the scouting report. McClure. Ray Scarborough, one of the chief people to scout the Yankees all through the season. Of course, they know the Yankees, having played them 6 times during the season and
split with them.
There's Reggie. The way they want to pitch Winfield is tight. He likes to take that long extension to get his full power in. That was not tight.
No. You know, it's amazing how little idiosyncrasies of pitchers. Here's a guy that's had rotator cuff problem. He's out there, no sweatshirt on, short sleeves on a night that's got to be in the 40s now.
47 an hour ago. I don't know. Maybe some of them feel it binds them up a little bit.
You're used to it. Snake River.
That's in the hole to left field. Base hit for Winfield, his first of the night. And it is the ninth hit for the Yankees.
Well, you get that fastball or any pitch away where Winfield can extend those arms.
That's it.
He takes an awesome swing at it.
Speaking of those arms, I was just curious today. I asked Jerry Klein to check his sleeve length. It's 38.5 to 39. Stands 6'6". That means he's got to be able to reach nigh on to 11 feet. Reggie Jackson takes it high. Well, McClure brought some heat with him too. He threw that one 90 miles an hour.
Well, here's what Bob Rogers is thinking about here, because you've got all the left-handers coming up. Now, you got to watch McClure. He's got an excellent move to first base. But you're going to gamble with Winfield. You hope you get something there in a positive vein, but you didn't. You got the base hit. But now you've got Jackson, Nettles, and Gamble, the 3 left-handers to follow.
Good pitch there.
Now with a 2-run lead presently, I don't know if Len would want to tamper with Oscar, who had that 2-run home run that brought them into an earlier tie, but he's got a good hitter like Piniella, all reliable.
Well, you've got also in this particular situation, Howard, I don't know whether you're going to fool around with Winfield too much at first base. You've got Jackson, the left-hand hitter. You've got Cooper holding Winfield. He's got a good hole on that right side to hit through.
High fly ball, but it's playable in right center. Molitor, 1 out. Winfield stays at first.
Reggie's not too happy with himself. He got under that.
Just missed it. Just missed it.
There you get a little look at the move of Bob McClure. Now this, as I said before, is not his good one. He has an excellent move to first base. This is just to let him know. You see that little move right there with his head. And you'll see a good one come out of there pretty soon if he stays in there long enough.
Greg Nettles. Fouled off.
Nettles just missed that, Keith.
Yep.
He'll stand in there against a southpaw.
Oh, he was. I guarantee you, he was looking dead fastball and got it and just fouled it right straight back. McClure has the edge at 2 strikes. Well, I take my hat off to that gentleman. He had rotor cuff problems, and he can throw that ball 90 and 91 miles an hour. That last pitch, 91. That's doing something. Just missed. Winfield edging off first with 1 away. And that's fouled away. Every time McClure wags that head toward first base, he's forcing Winfield to break his stride. Go back. Well, I'm sure that in their scouting report, they know that McClure's got a good move. Like I said, also, you've got the left-handed hitters up there, and I know that Lemon doesn't want to take away that hole on that right side to hit through. He'd like to see him first and third him for a while. Cecil Cooper fetches that one out of the dirt. Virtually no wind tonight. Could be quite uncomfortable if the wind was blowing, but it isn't, Spurt. Quite comfortable. Bends it outside. 2-2. I got to laugh at hitters. They all say, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, give it back to him. They want to take a look at the ball. They like those big, shiny ones. Nettles hits it. A little looper that Thomas runs down. Ball hung up. Looked like it might just dink in there, but Gorman moving quickly on it. He got a quick read on it and made the good move to it.
No monkeying around. Oscar will stay in.
He has singled and hit a 2-run home run after coming to the ballpark today 0 for 27.
Well, I think right here, Howard, you've got Lemon sitting in the dugout. He's got a 2-run lead. You're only in the middle part of the ball game. He makes a move with Piniella for Gamble right now. All of a sudden, Milwaukee comes back and does something to tie the ball game up or go ahead. Now he's still got the right-hander in there, but then he's got to make a move with Mercer. And then what does he do if he should use all 3 of those guys? Now he's stuck. 2 out, and the pitch is outside.
And you pass Park Place in the boardwalk, you wind up with Ventnor Avenue.
That's and an empty glass.
One ball and 1 strike. He might take care of that set of numbers too before this night is over, the way he's going. 2 down.
Gives you an idea right there how much he's really hit against left-handers this year. Only 0 for 11.
Good pitch. Good pitch. 1-2.
There's no question that Oscar is a different hitter against left-handers than he is right-handers.
He really moves that foot out and away, doesn't he? Huh? Big bucket. May fool you.
2-2.
Old Reliable. That was the name they had for Tommy Hendrick. Old Faithful, Gene Woodley. Cognoments rendered by Mel Allen. And Piniella is in that mold.
strike. The 2-2 to Gamble. Ball is hit sharply to right for Molitor. Ball makes the catch, and the side is retired. So we roll along, middle of the 5th, 4-2 Yankees. Mr. Drysdale?
Well, what that means right there, Keith, is that Ron Guidry, in a 9-inning ball game, he's allowed a runner an inning. And Gura right behind him, just a little over a run an inning. Those are pretty good numbers up there.
That's the kind of unique statistic we get from a man named Steve Hurt, who deserves more credit than he's ever been given for doing his job. That is not Steve Hurt. Although there's a similarity.
There was a football game played out on the West Coast last week. San Jose and Fresno State, as Guidry delivers to Molitor, and Paul swings and fouls it back to make it 2 strikes. It was 63-35 or 65-33 or something like that. It did take a while with all those points being scored. Just misses, 1 and 2. And they took a picture of a little tiny fellow like that, and the announcer said that child was not born when this game started. High pop out into right center for Mumphrey, and Molitor is out. Here at the bottom of the 5th inning with Robin Yount and Cecil Cooper now to follow. We mentioned that David Concepcion had signed today, and Dennis Martinez. Ron Guidry's among those who has had an offer he calls quite legitimate. No offer since August, and he's thinking definitely about, as he put it, seeing what's out there. That ball is hit sharply by Yount. Mumphrey on 1 bounce in center, and Robbins aboard. His 2nd trip on the bases, walked back in the 1st inning, and that pretty lady is Mrs. Robin Yount.
There is young Robin, shy kid.
Boy, can he smoke a golf ball.
Oh, he is a beautiful ball player. Just sensational. Love the way he strikes the ball.
There's been some balls hit hard tonight on both sides. That wasn't a boo in the background. That was what you saw up there. Coop.
Cecil Coop. And the pitch to Coop. Misses for ball 1. Robin Yount, I guess, like Rick Dempsey, played for an old friend of mine out in Los Angeles in their Little League days, Dick Radenbaugh. And old Richard still gets on him every once in a while in the off-season about some of the things that have happened to him over the course of the year. Whoa, that one almost went to the backstop.
What a trade Milwaukee made when they got Cecil Cooper. That pitch, 91 miles an hour from the Boston Red Sox. Remember who went in that trade? From
George Scott?
Exactly. Not the actor. Well, maybe the actor.
George is acting it out down these days in Mexico. That pitch is low. Crowd sensing something building here with Simmons on deck. Walking.
Lemon beginning to squirm a little in the dugout. Clyde King responding.
Well, it's been a long time for these Milwaukee fans to, in postseason play. First time ever, as you said before, Keith, by the Brewers. The last playoff that they had here in postseason game was in 1959 with the Milwaukee Braves and the Dodgers.
Here's Ted Simmons, struck out, line to the 3rd baseman. Nettles made a marvelous play on him last time up. Ball 1. Ron Davis is a big right-hander, number 39, and Rudy May is the left-hander closest to the camera.
And that is middle inning pitching strength. Davis with a remarkable strikeout record.
Which is inside.
83 strikeouts, Keith, in 72 innings.
Inside corner, I should say. 1-1. Threw that slider again.
Well, they've just moved like 2 innings out of the range of Frazier, and now they're getting down into their strength.
Hit sharply up the middle. Base hit. Here comes Yount around third. He will score, and it's a 4-3 ball game.
And that, friends, is Ted Simmons for you in the clutch.
Now there you look at Robin Yount, and as I said before, these clubs are so explosive, both of them. And they got the fans on their feet here at County Stadium, Milwaukee. They are revved up.
Coming to the plate now, Gorman Thomas. Got 21 home runs and 65 runs batted in. We got 1 out.
The thing you got to think about tonight, and here comes Bob Lemon, and he's going to just do a little thinking right here. And I was just going to say, you've got to give your men in the bullpen a chance to get warm. A cold night. You just saw the graphic a while ago. It's 43 degrees. You've got to take a little time. You got to stall for a little time if you possibly can, and make sure they're ready if you're going to try and make a move.
Well, Lim will come out, talk for a while, go back, and then probably come back.
I think you're right.
Well, the thing is, that, as I said before, the thing when you're a manager, what you've got to be thinking about, both Bob Rogers and Bob Lemon, is these clubs are so explosive. And if you're not thinking ahead of time and saying, uh-oh, get somebody up in a hurry, you can find yourself in deep stew before you ever get a chance to bring somebody in there that's ready to pitch.
Now, that graphic, on the one hand, speaks for itself. On the other hand, it is deceptive. You heard Rick Cerrone say Guidry no longer cares about complete games.
They're going to Davis. So the big right-hander Ron Davis gets the call from the Yankee bullpen, and Ron Guidry trots off, still leading 4-3. His 44th appearance of the year. Your record, his record, you see there. He, however, in this second season, felt that he had not had good location with his pitches. He was touched for 6 home runs. The runners on base are Cecil Cooper at second and Ted Simmons at first. The responsibility of Ron Guidry, who leaves after 4 1/3. He cannot win the ball game. He allowed 3 runs, 7 hits, struck out 5, and walked 2.
We'll see this guy fire the ball, I'll tell you that. Remember the figure I cited earlier, 83 strikeouts in 72 innings. That's for Mrs. Gorman Thomas.
And she's about to watch with you.
A little bit nervous.
Yeah, power against power.
I'll tell you, Davis, a very versatile fella, very talented. He was my waiter during the strike in a local restaurant.
The Polar Bears are in the bleachers. And he wings that one high. The ball 1.
I think these are some of the great confrontations in this game of baseball. Power against power. Well, you see Gorman's Gorillas out there in the outfield. They got all kinds of signs out there tonight.
A 4-3 ball game. Yankees leading it. And he checks and takes for a strike.
Well, one of the reasons that Davis, Keith, you mentioned, had that kind of a little shaky second half. He came back, and he was really a strike victim. He had soreness and inflammation in the bicep area, and he couldn't throw as often as he did before. Only a couple of days in a row compared to what he considered 4 good days in a row.
Well, just nothing fancy about it, though. It's just, here it is, guys. Give it your best swing.
That's it. He's not going to try and trick you. As I said before, it's just power to power. Go get them with your best stuff and let the chips fall where they may.
Look at that facial hair.
Well, he got him.
Sorry about that, Debbie. It's happened to others.
2 down now with 2 on. And Jerry Klein, going back through the books, tells me that this is the earliest that Ron Davis has been called this year.
You remember when they fined Frenchie Bordegaray for growing a mustache?
No, frankly, I don't.
It's true. Now you'll see a different Ogleby now, Keith, against a right-hander.
Ben has struck out twice swinging against Guidry, and he swings and misses against Davis for strike one. Davis is up in the 90s with his fastball.
Ben Ogleby will hit a ball as far as any man in baseball.
Look.
That's Tammy Ogleby.
Ron Davis just went to the upper shelf, 94 miles an hour. Fouled away. Ooh. You have Cooper at second, Simmons at first. Yount has scored on Simmons' single to make it 4-3. And now Davis is trying to put out the fire. I'll guarantee you, Milwaukee baseball fans come to the ballpark determined to have a good time, don't they? They are. High fly ball out into center field for Mumphrey. Jerry settles and makes the catch, and so Davis comes in and does put out the fire. And so, after 5, it's 4-3 New York. Back with more baseball after this word from our local stations. We'll be with you tomorrow afternoon at noontime out on the West Coast, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, and 2 here in Milwaukee. They say the temperature's going to be up around 70 degrees and should be most comfortable. It'll be Bob Watson, Larry Milburn, and Rick Cerrone now for the New York Yankees as we go to the top of the 6th inning and a look down on County Stadium from a helicopter carrying one of our cameras. Bob McClure delivers, and it's hit to right field by Watson. He is now 3 for 3 in the ball game. Cued it out there. Now watch what he does. He'll take off that glove, stick his hand back in his pocket. And what he's doing is putting a snuff box in his hand to protect his fingers.
And he'll do that basically for sliding, so he makes sure that he's got a fist doubled up. That's what happened to Bucky Dent.
Well, he broke the knuckle on his middle finger 5 times. Good grief, I'll keep it in my pocket. Milburn is up, fouls it away on the bunt attempt.
Well, many times you'll see a manager just take it off if they think that the bunt situation's in order, because most of the time you'll see a pitcher go out there and go with a fastball. Somebody keeping score here at County Stadium.
There is no security in a 1-run lead.
No.
Not with these two G's.
Hammer throwers. He leaves it on and he fouls it off again.
Execution.
Haas started. Bernard followed in the 4th, and McClure in the 5th. Now here in the top of the 6th, McClure working his 2nd inning. Ball dances between the feet of Milburn, and a good stop there by Ted Simmons. Larry is one of the Yankees who can handle the bat probably better than most in these bunt situations. Watch this stop now by Simmons.
Here's an excellent play by Ted. That ball down at the feet. Now you've got to get over there. You've got to try and watch that ball, lead it, keep it in front of you at least. Then you're also biting those feet.
That's foul. But Milburn, a year ago in Seattle, had the team record up there, set a team record with 15 sacrifice bunts. But you know what happened to Don Sutton the other night when he's trying to put one down? Got whacked on the kneecap and cracked it.
Terrible time for that to happen. Really was.
1-2 pitch. Swings away. Lines it to left. Ogilvy. And Watson comes back to first base. 1 out. Boy, there was no room for any misjudgment on that one because it was well hit.
He got good wood on it. Each team would desperately want to go into the 8th inning leading because that's Gossage time and Fingers time. Milwaukee going into the 8th with the lead has won 52 of 53. That's Raleigh Fingers in the main. The Yankees have won 51 and lost only 3 under the same circumstances.
Ask for new baseball while they're rubbing on that one. Let me tell you, this is an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
Channel 12, WISN TV, Milwaukee.
Cerrone steps back in with a ball 1 count. Pitch is high and outside.
Well, they got the gun down behind home plate, and he's still going at 90, 91 miles an hour, so he's still bringing it.
I agree with you, Don, to come back off that rotator cuff problem. That's painful. You've had it.
Well, basically what he had that said rotator cuff that's up in your pitching shoulder, and it's right up there at the point. And there have not been many pitchers come back from that. And we've seen
made a restaurateur of Don Drysdale.
That's right. It got my shoes tacked to the wall in a hurry, I'll tell you. But look at Busby at Kansas City. I think had one of the greatest futures of any young pitcher in baseball.
For a while, it looked like he'd come back from it.
He tried to come back. Wayne Garland
is still trying. He hasn't been that effective. He started well this year. It looked like he had it beat, and then he fell off again.
Doug Rao with the Dodgers. It's a tough operation.
3 balls and 1 strike to count to Cerrone. 1 out, 1 on. Whoa, 3-2.
And he changed on him 3-1.
Did.
There's another peek at it. Rick doesn't quite agree with McCoy.
Well, like Jim Palmer said, it's becoming a low ball league.
Get out into left center field. Thomas on the run. Can't make the play. It's going to go through and go to the wall. And Bob Watson turns at third. Holds on as the throw comes through, and he'd have been a dead duck.
Not with the arm of Robin Yount. There was no way that he was going to score. Thomas gives it an excellent effort. Ogilvy actually gets a little close to Thomas. He is coming right at the ball himself. Now has to round it off and turn around and round it off the opposite way and go to the wall to run it down. And here comes Bob Rogers.
And Watson, not a fast man to begin with, had to slow himself for fear that Thomas might make the catch. That's why the failure to score.
And they'll go to the bullpen one more time.
For their 4th pitcher of the ball game. So we've got a timeout here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. The Yankees leading by a score of 4-3 and threatening to get more. Now the 4th Milwaukee pitcher, Slayton, on the year 5-7, been a starter much of the time. Started 21 games. This is his 25th appearance of the year. Not an overpowering pitcher, rather compact in the way he gets it to the plate. Has the usual complement of pitchers, the fastball, curve, change, and slider. And so, as you look at the scoring summary of the ball game, while Jim Slayton warms up, Milwaukee getting off in front, Bando's double and Moore's single. 1-0. Then Gantner's double, Molitor sacrifice, and Yount the sacrifice fly. That made it 2-0, but the Yankees came back for their 4 in the 4th inning as Reggie Jackson walked. Gamble hit a 2-run homer. Watson singled. Milburn singled behind him. Cerrone delivered a 2-run double. And Rick now has been aboard all 3 times in the ball game with 2 doubles. And here in the 5th inning, you saw Robin Yount come up with a single and come cantering home to make it 4-3. And now the Yankees with Bob Watson over at 3rd and Rick Cerrone up at 2nd. 1 out, the top of the order for Willie Randolph against Slayton.
Now, you mentioned that Slayton doesn't have an overpowering fastball. That's true. He's a finesse pitcher. But he has a record of being very troublesome for some teams and some hitters. You saw the graphic on Randolph, who has never hit him very successfully.
Infield is up with 1 out. Up the corner.
Here's another guy that's been fighting a rotor cuff. As you look at the defensive alignment on the infield for the Brewers, right about at the baseline, and sometimes they will move back. Gantner and Yan will move back a step and then come up with the pitch a little bit. But he went from 15-9 in '79 to 1-1 in 1980, and that's when he started having that problem with the rotor cuff.
The 1-1 count on Randolph. Bounces. Simmons blocks it. 2-1. Bob Watson, third base. Rick Cerrone, second base for New York.
.7 earned run average. Keith will tell you a little something.
Willie steps out on him now.
I think that was the case right there. Ted Simmons, he just wanted to go down and make another call. He's the one that called time.
Randolph hits it high in the air on the right side. All Molitor in right field. Going to get his arm tested right here. Watson, big bluff, goes back.
Well, Molitor's got a good arm, and you can't take that away from him. Altabelli talking with Watson. As soon as the ball went off of the bat of Randolph, he threw the bat away, and he knew that he didn't hit it high enough to score him.
Far enough.
I mean, I should say far enough. He hit it high enough, but not far enough. And he's got a good arm, and he hits the cutoff man, Cecil Cooper. They're yelling at him, cut, cut, cut. That's a good angle, guys. That is exactly what you see if you're Paul Molitor.
So you've got 2 out, and here's Jerry Mumphrey now.
That was a big out.
Watson at third, Cerrone at second with a 2 out in a 4-3 ball game, and Jim Slayton, the 4th Milwaukee pitcher. He's outside again. 2 balls and no strikes.
Boy, this is a big inning for the Brewers to get out of. If Slayton can get out of this, Keith.
He's got a
really
tough cookie to get past here, though.
He's got a bunch of them coming up, too.
To Cooper at first base. Cecil makes it himself, and Slayton comes in and does his job. I think the Brewers have just dodged a bullet.
They sure have.
They got the pitch right there, and Cooper came on. He wasn't going to take any chances, coming charging hard and getting it on that short hop. And after that, it's just routine.
Well, you said the Brewers have just dodged a bullet. They dodged a bullet earlier this month. The team seemed in disarray. Open absence of harmony. Apparent, according to the newspapers, complaints about Buck Rogers as manager, the way he was handling his men. With that backdrop, I spoke today with Gorman Thomas, asked him about the situation, the turning point for the Brewers. Here's Gorman.
I think the biggest obstacle we overcame was when the press tried to make a big deal out of our difference of opinions with our manager, Buck Rogers. We overcame that, and we started playing good baseball, and right now I obviously consider us the team to beat.
Specify what those differences of opinion were and what players they involved.
Well, there was a lot of anonymous statements in the paper. I think a lot of them were made up by the writers themselves. They just tried to stir up a lot of controversy. We were playing adequate baseball at the time, and they thought that they had nothing better to do than to write some fictitious statements by players. Buck didn't take kindly to them. which I don't think anybody else in the right mind would have taken kindly to also. So we had a little meeting, and he invited anybody who wanted to come in his office and discuss things over with, and I think that settled the fact right then and there, and then from then on we started playing good ball.
There he is.
Laid it right on the line, didn't he? It's amazing, though, in so many instances, what a role sports media plays in so many different things. On Friday, the Brewers and the Yankees will be at Yankee Stadium, and Kansas City, Oakland will be out on the West Coast. It'll be a regional day, so check your local listing for the games that will be seen in your area. They take place at the same time.
That is not Bob Uecker. He is in an adjacent booth.
Wearing a pretty pink coat.
Not so pretty.
It's all right. Halloween's coming. Sal Bando, Charlie Moore, and Jim Gantner.
That was a big inning for Milwaukee.
Bando against Ron Davis. Swings and misses. High in the air. Coming back. Coming back. Out of play. In the air, short center. Mumphrey waves off Randolph and makes the catch. 1 out. Charlie Moore, the scheduled man, and we get a pinch hitter coming out.
That's going to be Roy Howell.
Roy Howell.
This kind of play you never read much about, hear much about. He had been with Toronto. He happens to be a very efficient player, though the figures don't show it, and a surprisingly high salaried player, which is not often written about. But he's the kind of guy who used to kill the Yankees when he was with Toronto. And of course, Buck Rogers remembers that.
Well, that last little graphic was exactly why you're not seeing Roy Howell in the starting lineup. And, of course, especially tonight with Ron Guidry. He's going to go with the veteran Bando. But Roy, of all time, got in a little slump late in the season.
Davis misses for ball 1 with the 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
This is really tough right now when you're sitting on that bench on a cold night and asked to come up and pinch hit. I think you talk to any hitter, why they would say it's probably the toughest job in baseball to do that.
We're also, I think, here seeing another weakness of Milwaukee. The 2 prime weaknesses cited earlier. You see there's a great strength there of New York. But we talked earlier about the bench of the 2 teams. And the Milwaukee bench strength does not seem, at least on what we have seen this year, to quite match up with New York's. And Howell strikes out.
Yeah, but they don't play this game on paper or strength estimates.
Another excellent fastball. That ball kind of comes up a little bit as Davis gets underneath, dips under it a little bit.
Here's Jim Gantner, the second baseman. 2 down now. Yankees are leading the ball game by a score of 4-3. And Ron Davis in relief of Ron Guidry.
He really fires that thing. 94 miles an hour.
Fouled off. Straight back. Davis in front, 2 strikes. 1-2.
You know, of everything that we've had happen so far here, it's only 4-3, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
That's right. That ball is lifted out onto the left side, but Winfield had him played well. Dave had shaded him toward the line, and he's there easily to make the catch. And so Davis turns Milwaukee away in order in the bottom of the 6th. After 6, New York 4, Milwaukee 3. Old buddy busy with the radio. One of the radio broadcasters for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Judy, if you bought that coat, I take back everything I said.
Scholarly looking gentleman. Keith said the coat's pink. Hardly.
What is it?
Brick.
Oh. Brick.
Brick coat.
Dave Winfield, Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, Oscar Gamble. For New York here as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Jim Slayton. Haas started, Bernard followed, McClure, now Slayton for the Brewers. And he breaks one off on the inside corner against Big Dave for a strike. I'll tell you, top of that 6th inning. Blooms may turn out to be a big moment in this ball game. Winfield bounces it. Robin Yount at shortstop throws him out.
That's a ball player I just like to watch. Robin Yount.
Well, he's got to charge this ball hard all the way. He can't let it get on that in-between hop. He's got to try and make the catch in the air, and he does just that. And he's got an excellent throwing arm.
Now to Reggie. Story on his night there. Single and a walk. And was on base when Gamble hit the home run. Just missed.
This is the kind of pitcher Reggie likes. Slayton would be well advised from his point of view not to throw him the low ball.
Well, he had downtown on that swing.
He got a good change. He got it up a little bit, but Reggie was out. He was well out in front.
Oh, broke his garter. He is a strong rascal. 1-2 now, and he steps out.
See Simmons trying to peek up and make sure that Reggie isn't peeking back to see where that location is. You get hitters that'll try and sneak on you like that. You get tricky up there.
That's foul.
Every time they take the bat and they take that practice swing and they take it out to you like that, why their head's always cocked back down towards where the glove is, trying to peek up where the location is.
Wish the viewers could have seen the moves you just engineered in the booth.
Struck him out, and that gets a howl from the crowd.
He got a good fastball to hit then. He just swung through it, that's all. Just flat missed it. It was down, and he just went through it.
Was in his wheelhouse.
That's right.
So Slayton has been impressive since he appeared on the scene with 1 out in the 6th inning, and he pitches now to Greg Nettles. He's out in front on Nettles. Now he's even at 1. Only Jerry Augustine, Jamie Easterly, and Raleigh Fingers remain in the Milwaukee bullpen. Among the relievers, of course. Not going to see Lurch and Vukovic and Caldwell because Vukovic pitches tomorrow. Boy, has he done well here with this ball club.
Oh, he's done a great job for him. Super job. 14 wins on the year.
It'll be Vukovic and Tommy John tomorrow afternoon at County Stadium in Milwaukee. American League East. Slayton fights the outside corner and gets a grumble from Greg Nettles.
That's the second time. They're really trying to keep that fastball away from Nettles if they possibly can, and Slayton bringing that curveball from the outside in.
On the ground of the second baseman, Gantner. And so Slayton gets New York in order in the top of the 7th inning. And they're applauding loudly at County Stadium with a score: Yankees 4, Brewers 3. To the bottom of the 7th inning now for the Milwaukee Brewers. They've got the top of the order: Molitor, Yount, Cooper coming up against Davis. And Davis blows it by him. Davis came on with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Always a first ball, fastball hitter, Paul Molitor. But tonight, not able to make connections.
Davis has retired 5 in a row since he came on.
This ballpark's alive, Keith.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Molitor.
And they still throwing hard at 90 miles an hour. There's where you've got to go down on the backside of that mound. You got to get on the grass to go to your mouth like that. Otherwise, it's just a ball if they catch you and call it.
Got him. That is the 3rd strikeout for Davis. And those are the scores of the games played earlier today. Houston winning its 2nd in a row over the Dodgers. Montreal grabbing the 1st one in the National League East, beating Steve Carlton. Rogers got that win. And Oakland beating Kansas City for the 2nd successive time.
Billy Martin is a genius. Winning with that infield.
Yeah, but he's got fair to Midland pitching staff and a great outfield.
Brilliant pitching. Brilliant. And as you said, a great outfield. Got all those water bugs skittering around the bases.
1-1 to Robin Yount. Cooper's on deck. Fouled it off. That's a moral victory the way this guy's pitching, to get any part of it.
One thing about this Milwaukee lineup, now since Davis has come in there, they have not had real good swing. They've been swinging hard, but they haven't had real good swings at it. And you see Cerrone saying, come on, let me have it.
Yount hits it high in the air for the center fielder, Mumphrey. 2 down.
That's the one thing that Rick Cerrone had to do a little bit. He had to keep getting on Davis.
The Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas Longhorns will go at it at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, and 9:30 in the morning out on the West Coast. The Sooners rated 10th, Texas rated 3rd. And I'll tell you this, if the Sooners quit laying the football on the ground and leaving it there, they're going to tear somebody up one of these days.
They'll destroy them. They have destroyed themselves with fumbles.
They lost 10 and 2 interceptions in the last 2 games.
Well, the tie with Iowa State was shocking to many people, but Iowa State, the Cyclones, have a very strong team.
Plus the fact Donnie Duncan came off that Oklahoma staff. He can work that wishbone.
And they've got a 237-pound back named Crutchfield. Look for him.
That ball's fouled away in the crowd.
Tommy John, who works tomorrow. Oh, what a beautiful person. And the joy of him and his wife, Sally. I was with them last night over the miraculous recovery of their little son. I think gladden the hearts of people all over the country.
That's fouled away by Cooper. So Coop hangs in with a 1-2 count. Take a look where Bob Watson's playing Cecil Cooper. He is right down the first base line, back of the bag.
Got to guard it now. in the late innings, especially even look over at Nettles at third, and he is off. He is over there. He's out of position a little bit, but in position in the late innings, guarding the line.
Oh, that's close.
That's also a dangerous pitch.
3-2 as Buck Rogers looks on from the Milwaukee dugout. Oh, he struck him out on an eye-high fastball. So Ron Davis has come in. He has struck out 4, and he has retired 8 in a row. And we will go into the 8th inning now with the Yankees leading the Brewers by a score of 4-3. Gossage is warming up in the New York bullpen. And that's bad news for the Brewers, or bad news for anybody. But he is not utterly invincible. So far, we've seen no sign of a man who has been almost invincible this season, Raleigh Fingers, for the Brewers. Right now, Jim Slayton is out on the mound, delivers inside to Oscar Gamble. Bob Watson will follow, and then Larry Milburn. 4-3, New York, top of the 8th inning. The crowd, 35,064. Director Chet Fortier giving you a look in from the right field line. And that ball is sharply struck. Molitor can't get it. Goes to the wall. And Oscar Gamble whips into second base, standing. He has singled. He has hit a 2-run home run, and he has doubled.
What a night.
He really hit that ball hard, and you know, it's funny to look at Molitor when he got on that ball. As you look at it from our left field camera, now that ball is really hooking back to Molitor. And he never stuck a glove up or anything like that. He didn't come that far from being able to make a catch on the ball.
No, he just turned and ran after.
Exactly.
He's only played out there 5 or 6 times.
That was one of the reasons that they wanted to bring him to the infield, because he has a tendency to trail balls.
Bob Watson, strike.
Watson, a perfect night, 3 for 3.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Yep. That's what the graphic shows.
Almost went for it, just outside.
I got to tell you, though, regardless of which way this game goes, it's just a 1-run ball game, and Milwaukee is a no-quit team. Lemon had a stroke of genius in playing Gamble and Watson tonight.
Dips low.
Well, they're only, what, 6 for 7 between them. That's not too bad.
Nope.
Pretty good productive night.
Fouled away. That will even it. 2 balls, 2 strikes with Gamble at second base. Like I said, Halloween's coming.
Interesting reactions here in Milwaukee.
Watson got that high curveball that time, and of course he's trying to move the ball to the right side if he possibly can to advance Gamble to third.
Slayton looks quick. 3-2. Oscar. This is one of my favorite cities, though. I tell you, sports events in this town are fun.
Great restaurants. Interesting basketball team.
Yep. Watson hits it on the ground to the right side. That moves Gamble over to third. And you got 1 out.
And you just saw a professional.
You think he didn't do a job then? He gave him a good 3-2 curveball, and he just stayed with it all the way.
He laid the bat out there and did what he had to do.
Just watch the curveball and watch his approach to the ball. He is just going right there and just trying to say, just like a little 2-handed tennis shot, just say, get over on that right side.
With 1 out now, the Yankees have Gamble at third, and here's Milburn. Sharon to the on-deck circle.
Remember, the Yankees had men on second and third and only one out. In the sixth inning, they failed, as Keith pointed out, to capitalize. Now they've got another shot.
Milwaukee infield shortens up. Ball is lifted to left field. Gamble has pretty good speed. Ogilvy whips it home, and he doesn't try him. Too shallow. And Ogilvy, who's got a pretty strong arm out there, and he had it right on the money. He had Bando right in the chest. Well, we'll just see what this might do. Howard, you just talked about what Keith said a while ago about not being able to capitalize.
Well, there are only so many opportunities you can blow in any athletic contest, in any sport.
Well, it still goes back to the fourth inning. Had the inning been played the right way, Milwaukee would be on top in this ball game, 3-2.
Time for a moment as Cooper comes to the mound with Cerrone at the plate. The Yankees have scored 4 runs on 12 hits in the ball game.
And Bob Rogers is going to go out there. They've got action in the bullpen. I think somebody yelled from the dugout just to get Cooper to go in there a little bit and take a little time and just to double check on who might be throwing down there. And I would have to think that if it's anybody but Raleigh Fingers, well, you're going to win the whole town of Milwaukee. They might just check on what they want to do to this man, too. Raleigh throwing in the bullpen, and that's where they're going to go.
Raleigh Fingers will be making his 48th appearance of this season as he comes out of the bullpen. An incredible performance by this big right-hander. So while we're waiting for Raleigh Fingers to get to the mound and complete his warm-ups, let's go back to some of the pregame conversation now. These days, free agency is going to get you a lot of conversation. And these are the people involved in the New York roster who may or may not become free agents. Ron Guidry won. Bobby Mercer, Jerry Mumphrey hasn't signed yet, Lou Piniella, Dave LaRoche, and Reggie Jackson. Well, before the ball game today, Howard talked to him. Here's part of that conversation about free agents in his future.
Once and for all, do you want to play in New York next year?
I don't really know. There are a lot of things that go on around me. I truly don't know. I don't know what can happen. George Steinbrenner and I have not talked about a baseball contract since early April, predominantly to my request. And again, the first half of the season, I had done nothing. I had nothing to show for anything, and really probably didn't warrant a contract. I wanted to get my game back together. I wanted to play good baseball, and right now I have helped the club, or we have gotten in a position where I can show people that I'm still worthy of playing a game. And the important thing and the paramount thing in my mind is trying to beat the Milwaukee Brewers, because as I said earlier, Howard, if we don't win this 5-game set, watching the next 2 weeks at home will mean that we haven't done anything in 81.
But you really hedged my question, Reg. You love New York. You love the Big Apple. You started spreading the news in the manner of Sinatra. Now all of the turmoil between you and George, and you seem hesitant about saying, yeah, I want to be back.
Well, I think that it's something that needs to be thought about. I think that whether I want to be back or not doesn't matter. I think that George is the fellow that will offer the contract and make the decision, and I truly, honestly, don't know. I think that I want to go into the draft. Again, I will not say never sign in New York. I will never be back. New York's been great for me. I've done some things on the baseball field that if I was not in New York and in those circumstances and situations, the things would have never happened, because I was pushed to the utmost or limits of my abilities. What's going to happen for Reggie Jackson to me is not important. The important thing is the next 5 games against Milwaukee or this particular playoff, and that's really all I want to think about.
Well, I heard an interesting suggestion not so long ago that what about Dave Parker? What about it? That if Reg does not stay in New York, then it could be the Yankees might be looking to him. That'd be an expensive outfield.
Steinbrenner looks everywhere.
He does, doesn't he?
But in the meantime, Rick Cerrone has to look at Raleigh Fingers. Not a happy thought.
The big right-hander with a handlebar mustache. This is ball one. As he pitches to Cerrone. Interesting, isn't it, that Sal Bando at third, Raleigh Fingers on the mound, and Reggie Jackson of the Yankees were all prominent figures in the great success of those Oakland days. Back in the halcyon times when Charlie Finley had the ball club back in the early 70s. That's fouled away.
You know what? It would have been amazing to see how far that club might have gone if they'd all stayed together.
It was a bunch, wasn't it?
Oh, boy.
Raleigh Fingers' wife.
You don't think she's not working?
Not excited, huh?
Ball is lifted high in the air to center field for Gorman Thomas. Raleigh Fingers comes in and gets his man. So the Yankees are turned away and will go to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Yankees leading by 1, 4-3. Well, it's showtime at County Stadium as they have gone to the big guns. Milwaukee going to Raleigh Fingers, and now the Yankees are going to Goose Gossage, and he's coming off a groin pull.
That's true, and we have the exact same situation that we had in this town the day Milwaukee clinched the pennant. The Brewers trailing 2-1 against Detroit came on to win it, and now they've got to do it if they can against Goose Gossage. Gossage in the second season worked only 14.2 innings, 4 of them this past weekend, 2 appearances against the Orioles. So he had developed a shoulder tightness before the start of season 2, and he is paid for it. I wonder, would you have taken Davis out the way he was pitching?
Well, you're going to go with your ace in the hole, but so far in the one-run ball game, Davis hasn't showed me anything that he's done wrong, Howard.
He only got 8 in a row and struck out 4.
That's all he's done.
Ted Simmons, strike 1. Starts out with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'll tell you, Gossage a fearsome figure.
1-1.
The oohs and ahs when he was warming up, because he'd wind up and he'd turn it loose, and he fired about 3 to the backstop.
Pops it up. Cerrone coming back. Falls down. Did he make the catch?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. How about that? Made it on his knees, falling over backwards. He is a supple young man.
Boy, he's lucky he didn't hurt himself right here, too. It's interesting to see how far he extended those knees coming back. He got here, and there he starts to go down, but the ball's behind him. He actually overruns it. Like he's on a sled.
It's quite a play.
I should say so.
Well, he wants to come back to New York. Said that emphatically before the game.
One out. Here's Gorman Thomas, who has been quiet tonight. Struck out swinging twice. Once against Guidry, once against Davis.
You don't have to swing that hard to hit the ball over the fence off of Rich Gossage. If you just make contact. But the harder Gossage throws, the harder some hitters want to swing.
Gorman is not getting cheated, and there's the if the gun is accurate, that's the hottest pitch of the night. 98 miles an hour. 98?
Good enough for a ticket.
Whoa, that's hit pretty well. But there's room. Mumphrey catches it with 1 foot on the track.
And lucky he got it out away from him just a little bit. He got that out on the end of the bat.
2 down.
Now here's the guy he'll really have to worry about.
Well, he struck out twice and hit a fly ball to center. Ben Ogilvy.
Struck out twice against Guidry.
He had more authority against the right-hander Davis.
Yep, skied to center against Davis.
There's a strike.
That was a perfect pitch. Tied him up on the inside.
I think the first thing, I think Ben wants to just try and gauge a little velocity. Say, well, how hard is this guy really throwing?
Hard.
98 again, so evidently I hope that gun isn't stuck.
I don't see how an average person can see it coming that fast.
Including the umpire.
That's when you ask them, well, where was the pitch? And they say, well, I'm not sure, but it sounded good.
Larry McCoy, of course, home plate umpire.
And done a good job tonight. You haven't seen anybody beefing.
Got him.
Ho, ho.
3 times Ben Ogle has gone down swinging. Gossage gets the Brewers in order after 8. 4-3 New York. Back with more after this word from our local stations. They're the pitchers for tomorrow's ball game. Tommy John for the Yankees. Pete Vukovich for the Brewers. Vukovich in particular having an outstanding year, though John's ERA is better.
Tommy John has never lost to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Raleigh Fingers deals to Willie Randolph. Strike 1 on the foul back with Mumphrey on deck and Winfield to follow. And the Goose.
The Goose hangs high.
Hanging as Mackinac in Breckenridge, Colorado these days in the off season. And the pitch is swung on, punched down the right side, curving foul. Well, it's the only cooking I saw out there with that 98, 99 miles an hour. He had the pot in his hand,
right.
didn't he?
And all the steam coming out of it.
What was your maximum speed?
94.
Sandy's?
If I had a run at you.
Run and start.
And Sandy's?
Sandy was up easy, up around 98, 99 up in there. He threw a curveball 90.
Raleigh Fingers, on the other hand, is a surgeon. He doesn't have that kind of speed. That's grounded sharply to the shortstop. The long throw gets Randolph for the first out. That's a good arm at shortstop.
Oh, it's an excellent arm, Keith. And that ball hit to the hole. Robin just goes over and makes a nice play out of it. It's that little skip hop, sets himself, comes right over the top, and a good strong throw to Cooper. I wonder what that little arm up in the air was to Randolph going down there, like he's trying to hit a tape or something across that line. Whether he's just trying to get the eye off of the ball by the first baseman.
Jerry Mumphrey. 1 hit in 4 trips.
Raleigh has great respect for Mumphrey. They were teammates at San Diego. And he said he was really surprised by the trade that sent Mumphrey away from there.
That's foul back. Jerry comes out of Tyler, Texas. One of 2 outstanding professional athletes from the town of Tyler.
Name the other.
Big Thunder. Earl Campbell. Sharply shot up the middle for a base hit. Fingers flagged it. Couldn't quite get it. And so Jerry's aboard with his second hit.
Yeah, Raleigh a little upset. He just kind of took a little bit off a fastball and tried to change on him a little bit, and he got it up over the plate. You take a look at it again, and it just lays right there for him.
How do you like that, huh? You believe that?
You can. 1 run, that's something. Almost unheard of. 1 run at County Stadium.
It really is, isn't it? He's marvelous to watch.
Well, they say right now that he's pitching better than he ever has in his life. It's amazing when you think the number of baseballs that man has picked up and thrown. And he's still throwing the way that he is.
Dave Winfield. I think a good deal of his success probably stems from the fact that he has truly learned his craft. He does not waste any energy at all.
All finesse. Looks well, too, you know. Still very young looking.
You were talking about Robin Yount being a golfer. You ought to play with that guy.
Yeah, I know. He can play up a storm.
He gets Winfield swinging for strike one.
Well, he should know these two guys. He was teammates with them last year. Mumphrey's already made a mistake on him, and he knows it. And he should know this big guy standing here, Dave Winfield. And you see what he did the first pitch. He went away with that breaking pitch. Had a little feint right there. You know, he was going in the first inning with Winfield at bat, and Simmons threw him out. I know Lemon would like a little insurance run. There's no question about that with that 1-run lead going to the bottom of the ninth.
Twice they failed to achieve it. Runner on third, less than 2 out.
That was pretty close.
That was Raleigh's good move there, because he saw the same thing on Mumphrey. He saw that little slight feint with that little toss over there the time before. He comes back with his A move here, and he just does get back to the bag.
One strike count on Winfield. Fouled at the plate.
Had him reaching.
If you keep the ball away from Winfield, you got to make sure you keep the ball really away. Don't let him get out there where he can get the big part of the bat on it. You've got to make good pitches on him away. The outfield, there you see, Dave, with good power to all field.
The outfield's in Wauwatosa.
That's right. They're fanned and they're playing right straight away. Winfield's power is basically right center to left center. Of course, left center at Yankee Stadium's awfully tough.
The 2-strike pitch. Whoa. Moved him off a little bit with that one.
That was just to say, don't be going out there and looking for that breaking pitch, because I'm not going to give it to you right now, and I'm not sure I'm going to give it to you after this one.
Well, that's, of course, exactly where they like to pitch Winfield.
That's pretty good runner, wasn't it?
He does. That ball tails well inside.
He can't get extension on his swing. What did you say is 11 feet all put together?
I think so. Pretty close to it.
Standing flat-footed, reaching up. Whoops. Oh, it got away for a moment, but Mumphrey doesn't go anywhere.
Ooh, they get a little break there.
Yes, sir.
That got beyond Simmons, got tangled up with the home plate umpire McCoy, and Mumphrey at first base couldn't find it.
No, he couldn't see it.
Take another look at it. This ball's sinking well. Simmons trying to go down, and he just doesn't really get the glove that much on it. Right between him. Now it stops and rolls right behind McCoy. Winfield trying to move Mumphrey around, but he couldn't find the ball.
He successfully blocked the catcher.
2-2. Mumphrey goes. Simmons' throw goes into center field, and Jerry's up and heading for third. And Winfield is out. Called out.
And the first little confrontation that you heard tonight, and that was from Winfield on the called strike. Now the runner going. That was on the inside. I don't think Simmons had a good grip on the ball. A good throw, and he's out with ease. Well, here's what you go. What do you do here, first base open? You want to pitch to Jackson? You want to pitch to Nettles?
They're going to walk Reggie.
Well, it's sort of the old frying pan and the fire sort of a thing, but I think I'd walk Reggie.
All Raleigh's doing is pitching against former teammates.
Yeah.
He's got Mumphrey, Winfield, and now Jackson. He hadn't played with Nettles, I don't believe.
They'll probably pitch very carefully. Be unconcerned, perhaps, that if Jackson should walk here. Interesting. Yeah. He went right at him, and Raleigh gets it up to 91.
Would you believe he could still throw that hard?
He can throw hard. He's very deceiving. He's got a very easy motion out there, Howard. He really didn't put a lot of strain on himself. As Keith said, he has an idea what he wants to do with every pitch. He's coming back with a fastball.
Missed with it to make it 1-1.
Reggie's saying, now what are you doing? What did that ball do?
Two out. Mumphrey at third, and Reggie pops it up out of play, back in the crowd. You know, we may have a knuckle buster in these two teams. It could go grinding all the way where they're going at each other.
Been a pretty good game. More action than the other playoff games.
Yeah, they're clapping for the strikeout right here.
Up the middle it goes. Robin Yount back at the back, bobbles the ball, and the run scores from third. An error on the shortstop, Yount.
A big run.
Now this ball's got to be handled by Robin, but two errors in the inning right here have led to the Yankee run, and when you get a 5-3 lead, a 2-run lead, that's an easy play for Robin, but he just has it come up his arm. Now he knows Jackson's got the speed, but he just cannot find the handle. He's got an eye on Jackson and the other eye on the ball, and couldn't come up with either one.
The throwing error by Simmons, allowing Mumphrey to go to third. The error by Robin Yount allows Mumphrey to come home. The Yankees are still alive. Greg Nuttall swings and misses, and now they lead 5-3. So instead of 4-3 going to the bottom of the ninth, 2 runs with a goose out there is a whole different matter. That's well hit, but Gantner has him played perfectly and throws him out. So Milwaukee makes 2 big errors in that inning. The Yankees pick up another run. Brewers trail by 2. New York on top 5-3. The bottom third of the order scheduled to come to the plate for the Milwaukee Brewers. Sal Bando, Roy Howell, Jim Gantner. Davis came on for New York with 1 out in the 5th inning. Bando fouls it away. He got 8 in a row. Gossage came on in the top of the 8th inning. He got the first 3 he faced. Davis should get the win and Gossage the save unless the Brewers can stage a comeback. That's 11 in a row. That's a broken bat bouncer to shortstop Milburn. Oh, what do you fancy?
Played that a little almost nonchalantly. One hand.
On the air, 3 Eastern, 2 Central, noon Pacific time tomorrow with game number 2 in the American League Eastern Division playoffs. The Yankees and the Brewers with Tommy John and Pete Vukovich. Howell at the plate gets a strike. 97 miles an hour, 98 miles an hour, 99 miles an hour. Good grief. Foul back.
Misses Gossage.
The foul tip comes back to the backstop. And Gossage out in front, 0-2. One and 2. Gantner's on deck. New York leading by 2 runs as Howell fouls it at the plate.
Shakes his head no. Gossage does. Gonna throw the fastball anyway.
We'll have the local news for you at your respective stations across the country. soon as this ball game is done. That ball is hit to right field for a base hit by Roy Howell. Brewers don't go down easy.
They sure don't. They're a good ball club, and this best of 5 series, I think, is going to show just how good this team is.
Well, you can see how big that run is now for the Yankees in the top of the 9th. That ball was hit hard. Howell stayed right on that ball, and Randolph, he didn't have a chance in the world to get it.
Well, as noted earlier, Howell has always plagued the Yankees. Did it when he was with the Blue Jays.
You won't see it in the paper tomorrow, but I'll guarantee you go down to that Milwaukee clubhouse, and they're going to be shaking their heads if the score should remain the same way it is right now. They'll just say, we gave it to him. They did, and they actually have.
This game is not over. Ballpark's alive.
1 ball and 1 strike now on Gentner.
But in essence, just to clarify what I'm talking about, they gave the Yankees 2 runs in the 4th inning. They gave them a run in the 9th. It should be a 3-2 Milwaukee win.
Oh. He took a swing at ball 2. Looked like
it was ball 2, Keith, but that high fastball, and
look at it rise.
You're talking about Jim Palmer, a colleague over in Kansas City. He'll tell you about that high fastball. Look out, Howard.
No, don't duck. Drysdale's all right, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course, Jim made a career out of having guys walk back to that dugout talking themselves, trying to lay off of that high fastball, and still doing it.
1-2 to Gentner. Strokes it foul to the left side.
Kind of get an idea what the Yankee book is on Gentner, because just watching the way that Cerrone's been setting up, the way Davis tried to pitch him, they've got Winfield to the line. They've got Mumphrey slightly in left center field. It appears that they're trying to keep the ball up on him and pitch him away. We'll see how they go.
Fouled away.
Well, Jim Hegan was the principal author of the Yankees scouting report on the Brewers.
There's the outfield alignment. See Mumphrey just slightly in left center. Of course, Jackson straight away and right and deep. The outfielders all fairly deep now.
Fouled away.
This kid battles you, doesn't he?
You're darn right he battles you. He's not afraid of anybody. And the thing about the Yankee outfield right now, look at that. That's against any club, which is a little interesting.
He got him.
miles an hour. Coming down a bit.
Well, he's pitching out of a stretch.
Davis and Gossage have now retired 13 in a row.
You think they can't slam the door on you? That is something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the man on base. Now, how could I?
The one thing that you talk about the Yankee outfield, all deep. They don't want a ball hit over their head for the extra base hit to put that tying run in scoring position.
But even so, when you get in the late stages, and you've got people that can come in and get 12 of you in a row, boy, it's tough.
Well, he sure doesn't want to have to pitch to Robin Yount.
He'll be a little hot when he comes up. Molitor.
Want to let Molitor get on, obviously. But Yount, memorable for that critical 3-run home run against Detroit.
Molitor's in the hole now at 0-2. Fouls that one away. Though in deference to the Milwaukee pitching staff, I thought their middle people did a pretty good job tonight.
They
did a good job.
Did.
They sure did.
Slayton especially.
Whoa. Cerrone trying to pull that one in. Duck walking out toward the mound.
He said, don't give me that call.
Interesting. He's had a lot of practice in local discos.
That's in the crowd, out of play. 11 Brewers have gone down swinging in tonight's ball game. Maybe there was one call. There was one call strike in there. One of them, Molitor, struck out. Look, that one's eye high. 2-2 the count.
Oh, he's dropping now, 97.
Yeah.
Losing it. 97. That makes your arm hurt watching it.
Fouled off, loses the bat, but he stays alive.
We identified Mrs. Gossage earlier. She doesn't seem to be quite as excited as Mrs. Fingers.
Gidra started. Davis relieved in the 5th. Gossage relieved in the 8th. He struck him out. So that's 12 strikeouts by the New York pitching staff tonight. And Davis and Gossage do the job as the Yankees win the ball game. The first of the best of 5.